Planet Earth is just a small planet in our solar system. Our solar system is just a small footprint in the Milky Way galaxy, which has thousands of stars, thousands of planets. And our Milky Way is a small fragment in the Vega supercluster of galaxies. And in the Vega superclusters of galaxies, it's just a small fraction. Vega supercluster is a small fraction of the Kalanika supercluster, which means the immeasurable universe. And that Kalanika supercluster, it's a small fraction of the observable universe.
Sure.
Now, this God that you're talking about is above all of those complexities.
Welcome back to Bisrat for Africa. Excited today to be joined by my brother, Zanele Jiane. Konjo Jiane ngobani?
Jiane umdlamama.
Oh my
God.
Yes. So we're joined by Pastor Jiane. You guys will remember him from the video we did about whether or not Christians should celebrate Christmas, a very controversial subject. But he's here with me today to talk about atheism. And we're going to be reacting to a video that I did some time back, reacting to a video that was done by a lady on TikTok. And basically, she was explaining why she left Christianity. So some of you will remember this video. But there was a very intelligent man who came onto our comment section, and he had some very good arguments or rebuttals to the arguments that I had put forward. But today we're going to be zooming in on his response to me when I said, you know, it's good for us to think critically. But then I also said that when you question God, you are actually cutting off the branch that you are also sitting on. So basically what he was saying is, well, if you say we must think critically, and then you say we can't question God, so he's basically saying, whatever you do, you know, just don't apply critical thinking to God. That's what he was saying. So let me quickly give you context why I said what I was saying. When you question God, you're cutting off the branch that you're sitting on. And I said this in the context of morality. I said that, you know, basically everyone in the world agrees on some moral values. For an example, killing, taking someone's wife, you know, basic things like raping, right? All of us agree on those things. So it's not a matter of nobody knows. All of us know, and we all agree. But where do we ground the fact that, you know, there's this moral law that's spread out across the whole world? If God doesn't exist, you know, where do we ground it? Because morality should be subjective if God doesn't exist. You know, there's nobody that we can sort of refer to. There's no sort of grounding that we can pick up. The other point that I was trying to make, for an example, Albert Einstein made this statement. He said the only thing that is incomprehensible about the universe is the fact that it's comprehensible. So what he was trying to say, if the universe is a product of random matter, cells coming together in a random way, why is it that it's comprehensible? Why is it that, you know, the laws that are there can help us go to the moon? You know, if it's a product of, you know, those random cells and all those things, then in other words, you can't actually, you know, trust thought. You can't actually say, you know, thinking is something that is actually valuable if you think about it. If it is a product of something that is random, it will be like saying to your child, right? I want you to go to school and I want you to just do whatever you want to do. And in the end, you're going to pass your matric and you're going to get straight A's. It's just, it flies against the face of logic to think that the mind that I have is a product of something that is random. But if it's a product of a greater mind, right? When I look at the world, I see design. It's perfect design. How can you get design out of something that is random? I think C.S. Lewis said it's like shaking milk and then throwing it down and hoping that the map of London, you know, is going to come up. So you're basically, God has to exist for you to even make those intellectual arguments against God. And that's why I'm saying, if you're saying God doesn't exist, well, then you're cutting off that brother. So I'm just giving you some context as to why I'm making that statement. And it, you know, you can link it to morality. You can also link it even to just thought as well. It flies against, you know, all forms of reasoning. But Pastor Jiane, what's your take on it?
When you question God, you actually cut the branch that you're sitting on. I think we make a mistake when we think that because we can question nature, because I can question you, I can question my manager, I can question my wife. Therefore, I can question God. There's a bit of a challenge there because God is incomprehensible.
Absolutely.
One of the attributes of God is that God is incomprehensible. God is that whose substance is only known unto himself. That's the Westminster Confession of Faith. Meaning that for me to understand God as God understands himself, I have to be a God myself.
Yeah.
So I am a finite human being. I was created by an infinitely higher being. But because God is incomprehensible, does not mean that he did not reveal himself.
Yeah,
There's certain
absolutely.
attributes about himself that he has elected to share with us. And the challenge is we don't believe in mystery. We don't like mystery. A lot of us will read mystery novels because it challenges us on a spiritual level. We'll watch mysterious movies. But when it comes to God, God must not be mysterious. He must be plain.
Must be
Why do we want a straightforward God? Because once we know something, we can manipulate him. The reason we want to know God at our level is so that we can manipulate him and then make him do our bidding.
Absolutely. And that's that argument from divine hiddenness. Again, you've just brought it up now. That's what people want in that divine hiddenness. Is that where is he? If he is God, he must reveal himself to me. He must answer to me. Where are you, God? Show yourself right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think Luther called it Dios obscuritus, the hiddenness of God. To say God is hidden, but God is not hidden. His divine attributes are plain to us. God has made himself discernible to us at our level. But it is complete arrogance to think that we can understand God as he understands himself. So Dinesh D'Souza said that when unbelievers fail to grasp God or see a gap in their understanding of God, then they say, okay, no, then they replace the gap with doubt. And then he calls it the atheism of the gaps. It's an invasion of, so Christians, when they don't understand something, they say, oh, God must have done it. Oh, God must have done it. So atheists call it the God of the gaps. But Dinesh D'Souza says atheists do exactly the same thing that Christians do when there's a gap. They say, okay, that must be God. Just because one aspect of this world doesn't make sense to you, then you remove even the possibility of there being a God in existence. So I think that the incompatibility of God is central to our understanding of our world. To say, for me to understand God, I must be equal to him. Matriculants. Why can't all matriculants who pass their exams be accepted at universities? Because they don't meet the scoring system that the university prescribe for admission. Why do they not meet it? Because they did poorly in their exams. So there's a standard for universities to even students who passed very well still can't get into some courses like electrical engineering. A student will pass it at level 5, level 4. University needs a level 5. What does it tell you? That subject that some students can attain to, the majority of the students can't attain to. And that's just one subject at a university, electrical engineering. So now we think that even those students who are brilliant, several distinctions, can't even get admitted to medicine. If you go and study psychology, at honors level, they don't even take more than 10 students for clinical psychology because of the nature of the subject. Now, we're battling with subjects that pertain to human nature, that pertain to physical nature, that was created by a divine being. And we think all of us, we can have actual access to this divine being who created the physical nature that even matric students can't even comprehend. That universities say your level of wisdom at matric level does not qualify you to even understand electrical engineering.
No.
Now, that person wants to study a God who created the entire universe. And electrical engineering only covers what we can do here on planet Earth. Planet Earth is just a small planet in our solar system. Our solar system is just a small footprint in the Milky Way galaxy, which has thousands of stars, thousands of planets. And our Milky Way is a small fragment in the Vega supercluster of galaxies. And in the Vega superclusters of galaxies, it's just a small fraction. Vega supercluster is a small fraction of the, it's a Hawaiian name, Kalainaika supercluster, which means the immeasurable universe. And that Kalainaika supercluster, it's a small fraction of the observable universe.
Sure.
Now, this God that you're talking about is above all of those complexities, all of those billions. To travel just across our Milky Way will take us thousands of years. Now, we're talking about somebody who can't even qualify to study electrical engineering. This person feels he's qualified to question a God who has created everything.
Absolutely. And I like the way you're saying it, because people will think when we're saying that we are making a faith statement. But that's a very philosophical statement, because if we're talking about God philosophically as a creator who created everything, and humans have only been able to explore, to the moon, a little bit off into space. Now they're trying to go to Mars. Like you say, that's just a fraction of this big universe that we've been able to see. But we probably will never ever see all of the universe.
Never.
You will never know what's out there. Never. And so, philosophically speaking, if there is a God, you cannot comprehend him. You know what I'm saying? Your mind will just explode. I mean, just start with the notion of, what was there before God created the world. You won't be able to understand. But we know the world has a beginning, and God doesn't have a beginning. Even just the idea of nothing creating something, like people, and that's why I think Christianity, or at least theism, is the only system that is compatible with thought. Because people think that nothing can produce something. How is that logical? It flies against logic. You have to actually, be ridiculously irrational, to sort of be an atheist. And also, I mean, how can you say that our universe, the material world, is all that there is? That means you would have had to go and see everything that's out there for you to begin to say, well, this, you can't actually make the statement. And most people can say, I don't know that there is a God, right? That's a more humble. So agnosticism is probably a better position. But to say I'm an atheist, that is a bit proud, actually, because then you are claiming to have all the answers, to have seen all of what is out there, which you haven't.
Absolutely, absolutely. But even agnosticism is arrogant, because if God has revealed himself, and if you look at the anthropic principle, the anthropic principle says that this universe is fine-tuned for life. If you change any of the elements, the speed of light, if you change the gravitational force a little bit, the strong nuclear force, if you tweak those elements by a little bit, you wouldn't have life. So agnosticism is also arrogant. Atheism is arrogant. So if God exists, did he reveal himself?
Thanks, guys. We'll see you all in the next video.
Thank you.